story begins in the year of mystery and miracles, 1811. That was a year that began with mystery. A disastrous flood that inundated the entire Mississippi Valley. In the fall of that year, a comet blazed across the heavens, leaving a ghostly twilight in its wake. Now that had hardly faded when the first of the new Madrid earthquakes hit. It was at 2 in the morning on December the 16th. The miracle of that year came in the form of the first true Mississippi steamboat, the New Orleans. It was built by Robert Fulton in Pittsburgh. She had her maiden voyage in the fall of 1811, steaming down the Ohio and Mississippi rivers on a perilous journey towards her namesake city. That trip would change river travel forever. By the 1850s, hundreds of them plied the Mississippi and her tributaries.
"1843 would prove to be an important year in American history. It was a year of decision. In the spring, a vast army of immigrants swarmed out of Missouri and into the West, fulfilling what they were told was their manifest destiny, to settle the vast American frontier. They would become part of the greatest voluntary migration in the history of man. What made thousands of middle-class Americans leave everything they had behind and venture out into an unknown wilderness with only the promise of free land to guide them? With hope, rumor, and hearsay, as much as mules and oxen pulling them into the West, thousands did just that. Why did they go? What were they after? And what was behind America's great overland migration? Those answers lie along the Oregon Trail. Wanted young, skinny, wiry fellows not over 18. Must be expert riders, willing to risk death daily. Orphans preferred. Wages $25 a week. Now who would answer an advertisement like that? In 1860, a daring group of young riders did just that. They vowed to carry the mail from Missouri to California at the speed of a racing horse. And in the process, they carved out legends for themselves in the Old West. The Pony Express lasted only 18 months. But in that time, Americans from coast to coast thrilled to the exploits of these fearless young horsemen. For sheer adventure, danger, and heroism, there is no better story than the brief glory days of the Pony Express. This relay station and stage stop is believed to be the only original Pony Express building still left on its original site. Many stations also served as stage stops, and since the Pony Express route followed the Oregon and California trails, they were also known to supply immigrant trains with food, clothing, livestock, and a place to rest as they moved west. During 1860 and 61, express riders would have lived here at the Hollenberg station, which was owned by Garrett Hollenberg and managed by his clerk, George Perkins. It was Perkins' job to look after the riders and livestock for the company. Since the Pony Express ran on a precise schedule, as the relay time approached, a new rider would be given his horse and would wait outside the station, listening for the sound of approaching hoofbeats. In the beginning, riders carried bugles to signal their approach, but they were soon discarded because they were cumbersome and there was no need for them.
Rider coming in!
Once the rider was in sight, time was of the essence.
He's making good time today, Rick.
Yeah, he is.
The official schedule allowed only 2 minutes for the changing of horses and mail at each station.
Clint, how'd the ride go today?
Oh, not too bad.
Everything pretty clear on the trail?
Oh, better than usual.
Good.
Okay.
That's Got some letters there, Rick. Couple for Rock Creek, the rest Big Sandy, and all the rest of them go all the way.
Okay.
Have a good ride now.
The story of the Golden Spike is the story of guts and glory, of persistence and ingenuity, and of incredible engineering feats. On July 1st, 1862, President Abraham Lincoln signed the Pacific Railroad Act. It gave great tracts of land to the owners of the Union Pacific Railroad once a line was built west along the most direct route from Nebraska Territory to California. No sooner was the ink dry than an entrepreneur by the name of Thomas C. Durant set out to get financing for the venture. Meanwhile, out west, another railroad was authorized to lay its line east from the Pacific coast to connect with the Union Pacific. The result was to be a continuous ribbon of steel from the Missouri River to California. In the summer of 1865, Irish immigrants, Civil War veterans, Mexicans, and even some convicts headed west out of Omaha. At first, the going was easy as they crossed the Great Plains. But in the West, it was a different story.
The highway that connected 2/3 of the continent wound out of Chicago and traversed the gently rolling Illinois farmland. After it crossed the Mississippi River near St. Louis, 66 closely tracked the old Osage Indian Trail and the Wire Road as it cut across the Ozark Plateau of Missouri in a southwesterly direction. It briefly nipped a corner of Kansas before marching across the oil fields and ranchlands of Oklahoma. After reaching the Texas Panhandle, Route 66 sliced through Amarillo and then shot straight into the mountainous country of New Mexico. Beyond Albuquerque and Gallup, the highway moved through northern Arizona and the towns of Holbrook, Winslow, Flagstaff. It crossed the Colorado River and entered California at Needles, and then snaked across the Great Mojave Desert of Southern California before reaching the Pacific Ocean at Santa Monica, west of Los Angeles. In all, it moved across more than 2,400 miles, 3 time zones, and 8 states, touching the very heart of America. It would become one of the very first continuous spans of paved highway linking the east and west. But more than that, Route 66 became a mirror held up to America. It put us in touch with one another through its necklace of neon lights, Burma shave signs, curio shops, and motor courts. Today, Route 66 means a time before America became generic, when motels didn't take reservations and doctors made house calls. Some things never change. Even in the modern era of jumbo jets, shopping malls, and super slabs, people are turning back to the past. Those of us who truly love Route 66 prefer life on the Mother Road. We get off the turnpikes and interstates, slip onto Route 66, and return to the way America used to be.